Africa is the world's second largest continent and home to some of the most beautiful countries on the planet, as well as some of the most unique landscapes and wildlife, making it a popular tourist destination. It is a genuinely diverse continent with so much beauty and deep-rooted history. As a matter of fact, Africa is sometimes nicknamed the Mother Continent, as it's the oldest inhabited continent on Earth. In fact, it is reported that humans first entered the continent about 300,000 years ago. Evidence of this can be found all the way to Ethiopia on the eastern part of the continent, where we can actually trace the beginnings of human life from millions of years ago. This continent is shrouded in so much mystery and believed to have ancestors among the first humans to mummify their dead. Geographically speaking, Africa has 8 major physical regions: the Sahara, the Sahel, the Ethiopian highlands, the savanna, the Swahili coast, the rainforest, the African Great Lakes, and southern Africa. Its unique terrain and massive landscapes hold so many mysteries, hidden in the depths of its soul for the most daring of adventurers to discover. However, there are glaring truths that are accessible. Some of these facts can be mind-blowing and informative, whereas others explore the essence of this heartwarming continent. With so many interesting facts, some saddening ones encompass mass deaths on the continent due to certain anomalies. With that being said, stick around with us on our video today, which presents 35 incredible facts about Africa that will surprise you. Be sure to leave a comment, give the video a like, and subscribe for more exciting and intriguing videos. The geographical detail of the African continent is one that frequently draws up a lot of interest and fascination. Along with some of the other continents, it holds essential information that helps in understanding some of our geographical origins. Prior to the arrival of humans, the African continent was connected to what would eventually become 4 other continents: South America, India, Antarctica, and Australia, forming one enormous and united landmass. Pangea was the name given to this vast landmass that encompassed these various continents. Pangea was subjected to millions of years of fragmentation and eventually segregated into the different continents we see today, each obtaining wildly different climates. The term continental drift was coined in 1912 by Alfred Wegener to describe this phenomenon. There are 54 official countries in Africa, according to the United Nations. When you think about it, a quarter of all the 193 countries in the world are located in Africa. Although Africa is the world's second largest continent, it is filled with more countries than Asia, which is the world's largest continent. Statistically, Africa has been subdivided into 5 regions. The western part of the continent accommodates 16 countries, which includes Nigeria, the most populous country in Africa, with an estimated population of 217.74 million. In the east of Africa, there are 17 countries, including Ethiopia, which is the second largest population on the African continent with an estimated population of 121.4 million. Southern Africa has 5 countries, and is home to some of the continent's naturally beautiful countries, including South Africa, which is home to 61 million people and is the 5th largest population in Africa. Meanwhile, North Africa has 7 countries and includes Egypt, which has the 3rd largest population in Africa, with an estimated population of 106.7 million, while Central Africa, which is also home to 9 countries, out of which the Democratic Republic of the Congo, with a population of 95 million, is the 4th largest population of Africa. All of the earliest human remains that have been discovered came from excavations in East Africa. Human remains discovered in Ethiopia date back at least 200,000 years. Australopithecus ramidus is the oldest known ancestral type of pre-human skeleton found on the continent, and these ancestors were known to exist around 4.4 million years ago. Africa is a vast continent divided into 5 regions: North Africa, East Africa, Central Africa, Southern Africa, and West Africa. The massive continent covers nearly 30.37 million square kilometers or 11.7 million square miles, large enough to fit in the United States, China, India, Japan, Mexico, and many European nations combined, and accounts for more than 20% of the world's land area. This is one of the most significant and fascinating facts about the history of Africa. Around the period of 332 BCE, Alexander the Great established Alexandria for the first time. Following this, the Roman dominion started to attempt to include and absorb a significant chunk of northern Africa's Mediterranean coastline into their empire. Egypt was ruled by the Greek Ptolemaic dynasty for the following 3 centuries after Alexander the Great conquered it in 332 BC. The Phoenicians established colonies from Tripoli to the Atlantic Ocean, increasing their influence in North Africa. This next fact highlights the culture that surrounds death and the afterlife. Nearly 9,000 years ago, it is thought that African people were among the first to mummify their dead. The discovery of an infant's mummified body in Yuan Muhagye, southern Libya, led to the discovery of this fact. The child's body was discovered curled up in the fetal position, and it had been mummified using an extremely advanced method at the time. Africa, as you are probably aware, has a very warm climate and is presumed the world's hottest continent. Approximately 60% of the land is dry and desert, and the Sahara is the world's largest desert, with temperatures frequently reaching or exceeding 40 degrees Celsius. However, while the hottest recorded temperature on Earth was once in Africa in El Azizia in Libya at 58 degrees Celsius, the continent also has the record for the coldest temperate ever recorded. This temperature was recorded in the city of Efrain in Morocco, where the temperature was as low as minus 23.9 degrees Celsius. This merely demonstrates the extremity of events that this unique African continent can provide. In actuality, some of the varying differences on the continent go beyond just those related to climate. Africa is the world's hottest continent, and much of its land is desert, and so it is really not surprising to know that the Sahara Desert is the world's largest hot desert and the 3rd largest desert in the world, only behind the Antarctica and the Arctic. It covers 9.4 million square kilometers, which is larger than the entire United States. What's even shocking is that the Sahara is expanding in the southern regions at a rate of half a mile per month, which equates to 6 miles per year. This dry and hot basin with gigantic heaps of sand dunes is found in the northern half of the continent and encompasses large areas of Algeria, Chad, Egypt, Libya, Mali, Mauritania, Morocco, Niger, Western Sahara, Prior to colonial rule, Africa was divided into an estimated 10,000 various states and independent groups, each with its own distinct language and customs. This pre-colonial fragmented Africa could explain why so many languages are spoken and why a large number of languages spoken in Africa are not spoken elsewhere. More than a quarter of all languages spoken in the world are used in Africa in their respective regions. There are over 2,000 different recognized languages spoken in Africa, with around 200 of these being Afro-Asiatic languages spoken in northern Africa including Central Sahara, 140 being Nilo-Saharan languages spoken in Central and Eastern Africa, and over 1,000 being Niger-Saharan languages. This may be an unexpected fun fact about Africa. Because Africa is made up of 54 countries, there are numerous languages and dialects spoken. However, Arabic, which is spoken by 170 million people, is the most widely spoken language in Africa, followed by English, which is spoken by 130 million people, and then Swahili, French, Berber, Hausa, and Portuguese. Additionally, there are a variety of languages spoken in Africa that we highly doubt you have even heard of. Due to the size of the continent and the variability of its religious traditions, there can be variance even within one culture. The three main religious traditions, however, are the African traditional religion, Christianity, and Islam, and they constitute the triple religious heritage of the African continent. This heritage has a long history and influence, despite being more dynamically evident today. In the case of African traditional religion, it can be traced back to the very beginning of the emergence of African peoples. For Christianity is the 1st century AD, and maybe beyond, and for Islam the 7th century. The World Book Encyclopedia has estimated that Christians form 45% of the continent's population, whereas Muslims form 40%. All mathematicians in Africa would enjoy this fact. Africa is where the earliest known version of mathematics was invented some 25,000 years ago. In fact, we can pinpoint the exact location because a tool known as the Ishango bone was discovered in the Congo. It is a very simple piece of equipment with notches carved into it that can be used to assist with fundamental addition, subtraction, and multiplication skills. Despite the fact that many adults are illiterate in this region, one of the oldest universities in the world is located in Africa. Timbuktu, a city in Mali that was founded in the 12th century, was the intellectual epicenter of the time, earning the nickname Paris of the Middle Ages from historians. The University of Timbuktu is one of the oldest recognized academic institutions and was founded in 982 CE. Africa and Europe have vastly different cultures, in part because both continents are home to numerous nations with diverse cultures. However, they are only miles apart at their closest point. These two continents are only separated by 9 miles between Morocco and Spain across the Strait of Gibraltar. Interestingly, these two nations are currently discussing the construction of an underwater rail system to facilitate travel and promote business among the two continents. Mount Kilimanjaro is a well-known destination in Africa, and one that lots of people from around the world take on as a challenge. You might not be aware that Tanzania's Mount Kilimanjaro is Africa's highest mountain. It rises up to 19,340 feet above sea level and is one of the most difficult climbs for professional climbers today. However, it is one of the most dangerous climbing expeditions, with over 1,000 people rescued each year and an annual death rate of around 10 people on average, implying that this climb is not for the faint of heart. Another amazing African fact is related to the continent's record-breaking geographical feature. The River Nile stands as the world's longest river, flowing at an astounding length of 4,160 miles. The large number of people associate Egypt with this well-known river. However, even though that nation makes up 22% of the river's route, it also passes through the Democratic Republic of the Congo, Kenya, Sudan, and Ethiopia. The world's first and oldest civilizations were once discovered on the riverbanks in Ethiopia. Lake Assal, which is located in Djibouti, is a crater lake. It is approximately 500 feet below sea level. Assal is also the world's largest salt reserve. It is believed that the concentration of salt there is 10 times higher than in the sea. Although Egypt is known for its pyramids, many people are unaware that Sudan, also an African nation, possesses 223 pyramids. This is twice as many pyramids as there are in Egypt. The Meroe pyramids, which were abandoned, were originally the center of the kingdom of Kush, which was controlled by Nubian kings. As previously stated, Africa is home to some valuable resources sought after by the Western world. Africa, and more specifically the Witwatersrand region of South Africa, has produced over half of all gold ever mined on Earth. Gold exports were valued at $3.8 billion in 2005, despite a drop in production. South Africa is also well known for its diamonds, although Botswana is the leading producer with natural gemstones and industrial diamond production amounting to a total of 20.9 million carats in 2016. Libya experienced significant renaissance and change during the 1950s. Many African countries were seeking independence from imperial rule at the time, and Libya was the first to do so. This struggle for liberty influenced the American civil rights movement and made people like Malcolm X famous for wanting to push for more rights and freedoms in their own countries. Africa not only hosted the world's second deadliest war, but it also hosted the world's shortest recorded war. The war began in August 1896 between Zanzibar and the United Kingdom. It began when the British refused to accept Sultan Khalid bin Barkash's succession after the previous pro-British Sultan Hamad bin Fuwaini. War broke out as British forces attacked the palace grounds, but the battle lasted only 38 minutes before Sultan Khalid bin Barkash raised the white flag of surrender. He later fled to German East Africa, while the British took control of the situation and appointed a new sultan. Only a year had passed since the First Congo War when the Second Congo War, which started in August 1998, broke out. It is the second deadliest worldwide conflict after World War II. More than 5 million people died in the Second Congo War, which began as a conflict between Rwanda and Zaire, now the Democratic Republic of the Congo, on the political and military fronts. A peace agreement was formed in 2002 to maintain the peace and limit the death toll from escalating, but part of the violence still persists today. Many of us are familiar with this term and use it in a derogatory manner, but most are unaware of its origin. Some Africans are extremely superstitious, believing that giving someone the evil eye can cause great harm, including sickness and death. To effectively counteract the potential danger of evil eyes, some Moroccan men, for example, paint or embroider red eyes onto the back of their clothes. Zambia had a space program in the 1960s, albeit it was not very successful, despite how implausible it may sound now. It all began because a citizen of Zambia was determined to send a man to the moon before the United States and Russia. In addition to the space program, a grant for £7 million was requested to transport 12 people and a cat to Mars. However, this was turned down, and the space program failed. This is probably the most interesting fact on this list. Nigeria, one of Africa's largest countries, has been dubbed the Land of Twins by the BBC due to the Nigerian nation having the world's highest rate of twin births. Twin birth rates in West Africa are 4 times higher than anywhere else in the world, according to statistics, and the epicenter of it all is a sleepy little town in Nigeria called Igbo-Ora, where the most recent figures revealed an average of 50 sets of twins in every 1,000 births. Although Africa hasn't had a lot of its people receiving this honorary award, A number of Africans have been honored to receive 23 Nobel Prizes. Among the few but distinguished winners are Nelson Mandela, Kofi Annan, Archbishop Desmond Tutu, and most recently, Denis Mukwege. Windmills are most famously associated with the Netherlands, yet there are 280,000 of them in South Africa. These may be found on farms all over the nation, and the quantity here is significantly larger than the figures from the Netherlands, where a total of 10,000 windmills have only ever been recorded. We may hear about it on the news and in the papers, but it is not something we seriously consider. However, Africa's deforestation rate is double that of the rest of the world. Every year, 4 million hectares of forest are destroyed, and some African countries have less than 1% of their primary forest remaining. Many people in Tunisia, a North African country, believe that fish have supernatural powers and that they can protect them from evil spirits. Some families will simply place pictures of fish in their homes as protection, but there are many houses in Tunisia that have fish bones embedded in the walls and floors to protect the residents from evil spirits. Lake Malawi is one of Africa's most beautiful safari and beach destinations, and it also has the most fish species, which may or may not surprise you. There are approximately 500 different types of fish, more species than in any other lake in the world, so keep an eye out for some interesting ones when you get the chance to visit. It may come as no surprise that Africa is home to the world's largest frog species. It is known as the Goliath frog, and it can grow to be a foot long and weigh up to 8 pounds, which is heavier than the average human newborn baby. This cute little harmless creature, well, not so little, is found in Equatorial Guinea and Cameroon. Africa undoubtedly has some of the most diverse vegetation and wildlife of any continent, making it very biodiverse. While there is a lot of wildlife on the continent, some of the most famous and record-breaking creatures call it home. Africa is home to the cheetah, the world's fastest land animal, as well as the world's largest mammal, the African elephant. Along with the giraffe, which is the tallest mammal in the world, the African continent is also home to the Nile crocodile, the largest reptile in the world, and the gorilla, the largest primate. One of our odd but accurate facts about Africa surrounds the harsh realities of the beautiful wildlife on the continent. Male hippopotamuses are fiercely possessive of their territory and would defend it at all costs. The species' females are renowned for being very protective of their young and would take action to attack anyone they perceive to be a danger to them or their offspring. Hippos have enormous canine jaws and razor-sharp teeth on both sexes. These elements work well together to deliver a powerful blow and can severely injure anyone or anything. As a matter of truth, hippos are reported to kill at least 500 people on the continent every year, although some pool of researchers have suggested this figure to be as high as 3,000. The beautiful African terrain is rich with flora and lavish with fauna, even though the southern region of Africa is known for its extremely dry and arid nature, coupled with lots of desert and grassland. But even so, this is where you will find the rare Fynbos species of flora. The name is derived from the Afrikaans word fine bush and refers to a specific kind of heath or shrubland that is only present in South Africa's Western Cape. So there you have it, the list of some of Africa's most amazing facts. Do you know about other facts in Africa which weren't on our list? Feel free to share with us in the comment section below. If you enjoyed this video, watch the next video on your screen which looks at the salaries of every African president in 2022. Also, be sure to give the video a like and subscribe to the channel for more exciting future videos.